G'day, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Joey Wiggle Experience. It's great to have you back with us. And our guest today is someone who has played quite an influential role in Australian children's media over the past 10 years. In fact, he first started off as the largest collector of Johnson and Friends memorabilia and has since started his own record label and has been acquiring music rights to so many iconic children's shows of the 80s and 90s. And he's also currently working on quite a project. In fact, probably the biggest by yet, a restoration of the Thomas and the Magic Railroad feature film. Please welcome to the podcast from one Joey to another Joey, Mr. Nostalgia King himself, Joseph Marshall. G'day, mate. Welcome to the show.
G'day, how are you?
It's great to have you on at last, man.
Thank
And
you. It's an honour to be
two
here.
Joeys at once.
Yeah, too many.
Too many. Yeah, it's great to have you on, man. And can I just say, that's quite a rare poster behind you with the ABC for Kids mascots and characters. I've never seen
Yeah.
that before, and I guess that kind of proves the point that you are the go-to person when it comes to nostalgic material in this country.
Oh, it means a lot to hear you say that. It's an ABC shop video poster from 1997. I think they recycled elements for the ABC Kids Favorites video that came out the same year, but
Yeah,
you can sort of see a little bit of inspiration. But yeah, it's got all the classics on there, so I'll have it up on the wall, and of course the Magic Railroad.
yeah, another one of the great projects that you're working on. But just looking at that ABC for Kids poster, I have to say that's pretty much just the definition of what our Australian childhood looked like. Like those were
Absolutely.
just that's just the definition right there. You got the bananas, you got Blinky Bill, you got Dorothy the dinosaur, Johnson, Play School, Spot. It's like they're all there. That's just
Yeah.
all of it in one picture, which is it's a great poster too. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, man, I love it. It's a cool little artifact. It's always a nice story to tell when when I talk to people on Zoom or you know, for work reasons or record label stuff. A lot of them, some of the people, as you know, I've released stuff from some of these shows, so some of them will see the poster and they'll notice the character, from the show they've worked on, and that's always nice.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy, and like over the years, like we've seen like because you host the YouTube channel Johnson and Noddy,
That's
and
right.
over the period of time, you've uploaded many episodes of shows that we remember from like 2003 and then never see again. And it's like you go on YouTube and it pops up, and it's like, what? Oh, remember that. It's one
Yeah,
of those things where it's like childhood. When everyone feels like they have childhood amnesia, one little glimpse of something we saw back then, and it's like it just comes rushing back. Like that was me so many times, just watching, like just going onto your channel and just watching these videos of shows that I remember watching once and then not watching again for like 20 years. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I've you can imagine a lot of as I call like archival archaeology, as I call it,
Mm,
has
yeah,
gone into this. Like some of these shows, like you said, they've existed for a short time and then disappeared. And I spent years, um, especially if it's shows that mean something to me, tracking down copies, or I've been lucky enough to find them, record like certain episodes. And that's the other thing, I've had a lot of people say this to me about certain shows that have just not existed, and then suddenly they've appeared, and they've gone, "Oh, of course, Joseph uploaded it," which is funny to me that I've sort of become
it's like who
synonymous with
else?
that.
It's
Yeah,
like who else would do it?
exactly, and that and how you know it's not just one little. Sometimes the show's so rare you can only find one episode, but most cases when I put it up, there's just 50 of them there because I'm so I can speak for myself. I'm so anal to the point that I have to find them all, and there's still some I can't find, but I've gotten
Yeah.
closer.
Dude, it's crazy because it's like there's so many stuff that like are really, really difficult to find unless you go and try to convince like the library sales at like the ABC to be like, oh, can you please let us see it? And it's like, nah, sorry, we don't do public distribution yet. Sorry. And it's like, and then someone like you uploads the entire series or more than one episode, and then really raises questions like, who are you working for? Like, how? It's crazy. There's so many things that, like, not only have these episodes been uploaded, but also they've been remastered as well. So they've been uploaded at their highest quality, and that makes them stand out as the go-to videos on YouTube. And I think that's what really makes you, not only as a content creator, very interesting, but you as someone who has been, like you said, been an archivalist trying to go through as many tapes, because that's the thing. Like, quite a it's quite a journey. I mean, trying to find the original masters, tapes and stuff, because you'd have to go through all of these connections to even get them. But before we get there, I mean, I remember first hearing about you. I mean, by the way, crazy jump from being a memorabilia collector to literally owning music rights and remastering them and uploading them. Because I think for me, I would say the journey for you began 10 years ago when I first noticed you as because you were previously reported as the largest collector of Johnson and Friends memorabilia. So what was that period like, and how did you get into it?
Well, it's a really interesting story, and again, thank you for all the kind words, man. That means a lot. I'm speechless, but it's an interesting story. Johnson was one of those shows I watched as a kid, but because I was born in 1998, which was the tail end of it sort of being around, you couldn't really find much to do with it. And it was one of those things I'd actively look for as a kid. And every now and then, the early 2000s, you'd catch a glimpse of it, like an ABC shop in some random town would have a poster and Johnson would still be on it. And I'm like, see, I knew I didn't make him up. He's a real character.
Yeah.
And it,
Because
it was
he's one
like,
of those shows. I was going to say he's one of those shows which, I mean, growing up in the early 2000s, I'm a 99 kid myself. I don't
okay,
ever
yeah.
recall, I don't recall watching the show like in the early 2000s. I guess it just wasn't as popular as like the Wiggles, who were just peaking, and then you got all these other groups like High Five and the Bananas and
Mm.
Pajamas
Well,
and
Johnson
Bob the
was
Builder. And
dying out at
Bob
that
the
point.
Builder, like seriously, I mean, Bob the Builder was the biggest thing in the world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it was
Um,
kind of like, I mean, the only times I saw Johnson Friend personally was through the VHS tapes, and particularly the video hits too. That was just my first exposure to it as well. The Diesel
mm,
rap.
yeah, yeah. It was still on until I think February 2002. That's when they took. Well, the rights expired and they just didn't renew it.
Mm,
And it's because Johnson was, like I said, it's at the tail end of its, popularity. It lasted. It lasted. It had a good run. 1990 to 2002 is a long time, and
mm, yeah,
internationally it did very well. It was in so many countries. I don't even have a number for you. I think at least 50 to 70, 100 countries or something. Went
100
everywhere.
countries. Wait, how
Yeah,
many countries did the Bananas? Because I know the Bananas and Pajamas went super global, like
yeah.
unbelievably. I think the Bananas and Pajamas is what helped put the ABC on the map.
Oh, it did. No, for sure. They went to a lot as well. I would say close to that mark as well. They were. It's very interesting because they were slow to start with the sales. Like, some countries were slow to pick them up, but by like 2000, like I think it was something like 70, 100 between that mark. So yeah, no, there's heaps.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy,
Also, I've got
crazy.
to introduce you to my dog Pi. You can probably
I
see
was
him in
gonna
the
say, I was
back.
gonna, yeah, I was gonna say, who's that little?
Yeah.
Here's on her name.
Yeah, he's his name's Pi, like 3.14. He's a good boy.
Ah,
He's 13 this year. He'll be. He's my little
wow.
assistant. He just sort of sits here while I do all this stuff.
He's like, what?
Yeah. Well, he actually does really like watching the stuff with me. Dogs are a lot smarter than people give him credit for. So
Oh,
he
dude,
takes
they
in a
are. I
lot of it.
know,
Yeah,
dude. I think we're starting to slowly realize that as human beings,
yeah,
a bit too late.
yeah, yeah. No, this little guy loves Thomas. He loves Johnson. He loves the Magic Railroad, probably because there's a little dog in that movie that looks just like him. So
Yeah,
yeah. Mm.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. So with the Johnson and Friends stuff, because obviously that was before that would have just been the biggest show of the early '90s. But then obviously, like
Mm.
I mentioned, it
Yeah.
wouldn't be as popular in the early 2000s just because like you had other shows like Bob the Builder just taking over everything.
Mm. And by that point, Johnson, they weren't making any more episodes. You know, it was people loved it. Johnson was like loved. That's why it lasted so long. Like they didn't make any more episodes past '95, and then Australia they released the last series in '97 because it took them. That's a
Hmm.
complicated story, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and from '97 until that 2002 point, it's a pretty good run considering they weren't making any more. What they were doing was live shows until well, they had the last Johnson tour was '99, and the last live appearance was 2002, which coincides with the last TV broadcast on ABC. But yeah, it would be that just they weren't making any more, and eventually, if you're not making more stuff, unfortunately, all the new stuff sort of takes over. But a lot of those shows from that era are good. Like I love Bob, I love classic Wiggles, all that stuff's
Mm.
really solid.
OG. See, you know what's funny? They call them the OG Wiggles. I just
Yeah, yeah,
call them the Wiggles because it's
yeah,
like seriously, they made them who they are today. They wrote the songs, everything. They just are the Wiggles.
for sure, for sure. And they you know they pioneered a whole genre. I would argue they sort of started that whole group of children's groups and groups of
Yeah.
children's artists and that. High
And also,
five.
and what's crazy as well is that you'd think like you'd be worried at first, and also I think they kind of helped break the barrier a little bit because you would have been a bit skeptical, especially back then, especially if you saw like four grown men performing children's songs together, and they kind
Yeah.
of broke down that barrier, and they were like, no, they're just really lovable,
Mm.
and,
They were
and also
very genuine.
quote handsome guys,
Yeah.
very very talented as well.
Yeah. And they were they gained the public's trust because their hearts were in it and they were genuine. And
Yeah, yeah,
people
absolutely.
realized no, they're not these creepy blokes. They're really, genuine, down to earth people.
Yeah. And also educated as well, like well
Mm.
educated. They knew how to perform to kids because Anthony Murray and Greg in particular studied as early childhood
That's right.
teachers. Well, they studied early childhood at Macquarie.
Yeah.
So they were
Mm.
very well educated in knowing how to talk to children. And also in what Anthony said about the group success, it was always about involving the child and because it gives them something to do, like they're helping the Wiggles.
Yeah, of
So it's all
course.
about interact. It's all interactive, and I think that's what helped the Wiggles become so successful. Is that it gives children something to do, and they're dancing, and they're
Mm.
singing the songs, every word, and also the songs are just
The
unbelievable. Like
songs are
they're
great.
so catchy, so
The songs are
catchy.
great. Well, they write them from the adult perspective as well. Yes, the lyrics are a little bit kiddie, but the chords and the chord progression, that's all like really, really professional music.
Yeah, I sometimes see it as just like the kids' version of the Cockroaches because most of the
Yeah,
songs
of
were
course.
originally done by the Cockroaches. I just feel like that's all it is. It's just songs they wrote for the Cockroaches, but then they made kiddie versions of it, and and you think they'd be annoying and repetitive, but they're who look, Fruit Salad is a banger, an
Yeah, no.
absolute banger. I play that while I'm driving to when I was driving to uni. It was like, dude, that would be pumping in my car full volume, like do 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 do. It's just like not
Yeah, like
like that
even
is not repetitive. That is a banger.
no, the bass line slaps the main melody in that. It all works. All of those songs work.
Mm. And I guess that's and you think as well. There's so many people who have the questions like, how did they do it? Like, what was the secret? And I just think they were just humble dudes, and they were talented. They knew how to speak to kids, and their songs are very interactive and very catchy and not repetitive and annoying. It's like you watch Bluey now and it's not even repetitive and annoying because the kid characters aren't little brats and the adult characters are people that we can relate to now watching the show, which makes it have that appeal for grown-ups as well. So it's like they found a way, the Wheels found a way to appeal to adults, and that's why I love those kind of entertainers and those kind of shows when they're not
Mm.
doing it just exclusively for kids, and when they find a way, because it's like grown-ups are going to be forced to watch the shows with the
That's
kids.
right.
So it's
That's
like you want to
100%
have
right.
something that they're going to be able to watch and not be like, ugh.
Well, yeah, or a good children's producer or artist will know that the parents are going to have to put up with it too. So it has to be something that the whole family can like. That and, um, they don't talk down to the kids. That's another big thing. You can't talk down to them,
Yeah,
treat them like they're
mm,
stupid. Which is
exactly.
people like Franciscus Henry, who I believe you've interviewed.
Yeah, yeah,
Here's one of his big philosophies. He would never write anything that would sort of talk down to people, to kids, and he would treat them as if any other human being. And as a result, his stuff was huge.
yeah. And what he said was really interesting. I remember when we were talking about his time with the ABC, and he said that they had the potential to go global, especially when the Wiggles were starting out too, like because of the artists that they had with the label. And when you look at the ABC back in the 90s, I mean, even the poster behind you, that's just a great example of like they had that potential back then to really like not just the bananas and pajamas, but they had that chance to go really global.
Mm.
And
Oh,
I try,
absolutely.
and this is, and it's not like a criticism of the ABC because obviously they've produced the best in Australia. All I'm saying is that they could have gone bigger. And I
Oh, for
totally agree with
sure.
what Franciscus Henry said.
Yeah, well, him and all the in-house artists they had signed, like Don Spencer and some of those guys, they could have pushed that music catalog further, but like you said, they didn't.
Yeah. But it's all right. Look, I think it's more about, and also, at least they've come out of the experience very humbling as well. It could have been a very different story because some people, they always come out of they always tell the stories later of like, oh, they didn't let us do this. They were just terrible people. It's like, but he didn't have any of that. Like, he just really enjoyed his time. He was there to just do it because he enjoyed it. I mean, that's the thing. They do it because they enjoy it, not because they're being forced to do it as well.
Yeah, and that's the most important part of it. They
Yeah,
love doing it.
yeah. Just like you love collecting and archiving a lot of great material, and like I said,
Mm.
with the Johnson and Friends stuff, because that's how I first got introduced to you, is when you were being reported as having the largest collection of the show's memorabilia, which was absolutely crazy. Because
Yeah,
I remember that
yeah.
being all over like behind the news and everything. What was that like when you first started getting attention there?
That's when I started to realize this is a big deal. Like, I've made friends with many of the cast and crew, and I realized I was doing it because I loved the show, but I realized at that point when it was getting lots of attention that yeah, I underestimated people underestimate how well remembered the series is, and that's when I realized people were interested in my story and a number of other things. I mean, just on the down low, which I'm happy for you to put this in the episode. Um, I'm not going to say too much, but there's a documentary being made about Johnson's impact and and what it did for me and other people, and so that's being done at the moment. So that sort of sheds a little light on that for you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like because obviously I think it's different to like a lot of people might not understand it because it was kind of like they didn't grow up during that time. Like
Oh yeah,
I'm trying to understand, but I think because I grew up during the era of like Bob the Builder, Thomas the Tank Engine, and even just the Wiggles when they were just peaking all over the world. I think it's just a different story, and it was before the Wiggles started taking off as well. It was before
mm,
that, yeah.
yeah,
When the show became really popular, and that was when the Wiggles started to become more popular themselves.
yeah.
But Yeah, no, it's really interesting. And also, yeah, so you wouldn't after you started becoming recognized for that, how did the whole record deal come about? Because that's the other thing that's crazy is that you started your own record company and you have since been collecting the rights for many of these songs and mostly from shows that have been forgotten and re-releasing them and remastering them at their highest qualities.
So basically, well, as a collector, I collect all the different albums and music and stuff that I also, as a collector, I would collect stuff from people who worked on the show, stuff that hadn't been released, like music tapes and of master copies and that of background music and stuff. And as a collector, you learn all this stuff and the history, and you start to realize why isn't this stuff being put out there? And you think, um, that there should be a way to do this. So, me being me, very persistent and a little bit crazy sometimes. I spent a long time. I spent a long time trying to figure out who owned what, and so during the period of the end of 2020 and the start of 21, um, I was behind the scenes working on all this Silbert Records stuff, and I'd known many of these composers for years, like Chris Neal, the composer of Johnson. I've known him since 2013, so he's sort of been a mentor to me for. Well, that'd be Jesus. That'll be 13 years this year. That's a long time.
And he worked on Johnson, Friends, and Liftoff.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and
Mm.
that's just some of the. Did he work on any other show? I feel like
Little Elvis.
there's oh, Little Elvis. Oh, that
Yeah,
okay. That kind
yeah. It's a classic series.
yeah.
Mm.
I was wondering. It's just pretty much a cartoon of some kid who they believe was Ray. I mean, conceived by Elvis, and he becomes the Aussie Elvis.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a really wacky idea, but it was a classic series.
That's what I love. That's what makes us so great. We have so many crazy ideas, and we're just larrikins. Like, look at Round the Twist. That's the
Mm,
kind of show that should have been a cartoon, but for some reason, it just became really iconic because of the wacky stories that they have, and also
mm,
just the banger theme tune. You know how
mm.
strange things happen when we're going round the twist.
Yeah, well, I know the lady who produced a lot of those shows, Patricia Edgar. She's a friend of mine. She did Lift Off, Round the Twist, Genie from Down Under, Little Elvis. God, there's so many,
Yeah,
so
and
many.
she created the she was the creator of the Australian Children's Television Foundation,
That's correct.
ACTF, which created all those shows.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so it's like yeah, it must be a great feeling being that person responsible for some of the most iconic children's shows in Australian history as well. Like just part of our culture as well.
Yeah, these people that I'm lucky to call friends, they created some of the most iconic stuff, and not just here, but people around the world love these shows as well.
Yeah.
Again, that was the time period where Australia was actually bothering to sell their kids programs overseas and put them into different languages and stuff. But then that kind of just petered off until Bluey came, and now Bluey's everywhere, which is good because
Bluey's
you know,
everywhere, but
mm,
you know what makes me really angry about Bluey being so popular is the
yeah,
fact that the ABC aren't even making money because they gave the freaking rights to the BBC.
mm,
They could have made like that money. Imagine the generations that would have been funded in this country in the entertainment industry if they'd actually been distributing the show.
yeah. Well,
It's
they
crazy. Like it makes me so angry thinking about it every time.
I'm sure they're kicking themselves, realizing
They
how much
really
of
are.
a mm,
But that was the same with the Wiggles too. Like the Wiggles were pretty well. I mean, I mean, there's been rumors circulating at the moment. I don't even know if it's true or not. So I just don't want it to be speculated as true information. But there's rumors going around that they may have left the ABC. We don't know if it's been
interesting.
confirmed, but it's like it'd be pretty crazy if it's true because it's like they've
Yeah, what's
been
the
with
end
them
of a
since.
30-year partnership?
Well, it's like they've been with them for the very start, and also they, like I said, the banana. If the bananas in pajamas even if they didn't help put the ABC on the map, which I know they did, the Wiggles surely helped too. Like both of
Oh yeah.
those were the most successful products that the companies ever produced, and Bluey as well. And it's like, I love the NBC, but man, they need to like take some risks sometimes. It's
Oh,
just
I think
because even with
they've
the Franciscus Henry, like, and with Franciscus Henry's story, it's like it's just like uh, it makes it really questionable about what was happening behind the scenes that may have led to the Wiggles leaving the ABC. Allegedly, by the way, we have no confirmation, just so you know.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard all the rumors and stories as well from that time period, and I know that well, it's just with any company really. There's always going to be shady dealings behind the scenes, but um,
Mm,
it is what it is.
yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is. I mean, I think our childhoods have been so well brought up in by the ABC that we kind of don't question
Yeah,
it that much.
yeah. I look
The
at the
Wiggles
stories are
without the
fascinating.
ABC,
Hmm.
that's a bad relationship breakup if it's true.
Yeah,
It makes me sad
I've no
actually.
idea if it is or not. Like that's modern Wiggles, which I don't pay much attention to. But if it
Yeah,
is, that's a great loss for both parties, especially
oh, absolutely. Like, it makes me feel sad because it's like that. It's like it just wouldn't. It doesn't make sense without the ABC. It really doesn't.
It's right. It's like when Doctor Who left ABC after being there since the '60s. It's a
It's
bit it's
really.
crazy.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
Disney took away the distribution rights for everywhere except the UK for a while. I don't know if it's changing, but I remember hearing about that a couple of years ago and was pretty disgusted because like I said, that's the end of a 40-year partnership, probably much longer than 40 years. Sorry.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, I mean, Disney are no exception. I mean, the ABC might have made some bad calls, but they're not as bad as Disney. I mean, if people are like, "Oh, it's not true," it's like, okay, since 2010, how many original movies have they made?
None.
Just constant live action remakes and constant sequels. And if the icing on the cake is just that new $1 billion deal with OpenAI, that's
Oh,
the icing on the cake.
jeez.
That shows me that they don't have any value in art at all
Nah,
anymore.
nah. It's they're sellouts. I personally think they've always been
Absolute
sellouts.
sellouts to the core, man. Absolute to the core. And don't get me wrong, I love AI a little bit. I'm not like a huge fan of people stealing. I mean, just generating art, but I get interested by technology. But I just think, in terms of business deals, I think it's a really bad one for Disney to make because
Oh,
now
it's
it's going to be
absolutely.
misused like crazy.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
Not
It's
good
not
at
good. The
all.
way some of those big companies are going, they're digging their own early grave. I think.
Yeah. What if the ABC does the same? It's like now you can
I
just
hope
AI
not.
generate old episodes of Play School.
Oh,
Imagine that. It'd be so crazy.
I'd be
I mean,
pretty
look,
disappointed in them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there is some. I'm going to say though, and I know some people are going to disagree. There are some advantages to it, the technology in terms of like like if I'm running a sentence or I need help fixing like a description, it'll help me do that. But in terms of generating images and stuff and
Yeah.
videos, oh, and also the Sora 2 stuff, that's
Mm.
just the second version. I don't even want to know what the third version's gonna look like.
Yeah, well, people are already doing some pretty nefarious stuff with it, so it's a
Yeah,
worry. It's a
it's a
worry.
worry.
They need to
It's
develop some
ironic,
policies.
but it is ironically fun
Oh,
when they yeah.
mm. I think they need to develop some policies to control it better because um, oh look, my belief is that it's a tool. Like any tool, it can be used responsibly, but people aren't doing that, which is not good.
Nah, and unfortunately, it because it's so widespread now, and that's the thing. It's everywhere. Like every company, it's not just ChatGPT and Sora. Every company, every platform, every search site, every public place, they're starting to adapt. So
Yeah,
it's inevitable at this point. Like it's just going to
yeah,
continue evolving, and at such a rapid pace.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it? Seeing it grow from like,
Like from where it was a year ago to now, like, oh my God. And also the amount of water they're using. Ugh,
yeah, nah, not good.
not good. Exactly. That's why I started a podcast.
Yeah, good. Well, at least you're
But
making art and not,
hey, hey, it might be just one-on-one chatting, but at least it's not AI.
yeah. At
Even
least it's art. You know, it's a form of art.
it's a form of art. We're just talking about AI.
Yeah,
It-
and this stuff from the 20, 30 years ago.
yeah. Not made by AI too.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much it's evolved. But also, instead of trying to, and you know what people should be doing instead of trying to upload videos of AI, they should be persistently going after um production companies to release rare material. That way, we get real material that's rare, and it's very interesting to watch.
Well, I'd agree, but I don't think there's many people as insane as me. That's I put a lot of it down to how persistent I am. I get this idea in my head, and I'm like, man, I've got to find all these. And it's been 10 years, and I still haven't found every episode of Magic Mountain Series 2, but we're getting there.
Yeah,
You'll
that's
notice
it's
you'll
not.
notice every year I put up one or two that I've just luckily found. That's usually how it goes. Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. I'm just trying to keep track of the amount of shows that you've acquired. So not just the music, but is it just the music or the shows? Because it's like, man, you acquire a lot of rights.
Well, well, for some of them, it's complicated. A lot of it, for Silbert Records, a lot of it's music, but I've also got Ferryboat Fred, the TV program, got the album they did, and I've got the TV program, which we've redigitized all the masters. We're working on a restoration of Ferryboat Fred, so there'll be a
in,
DVD.
in, in honor of the show's late creator, who you've
Yeah,
also met.
yeah, John Pye,
Yeah,
lovely
John
guy.
Pye, rest in peace, John Pye. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
What,
yeah.
what was it like meeting him?
Well, when I met him, he was in a nursing home because he wasn't in a great condition. But it wasn't.
Mm.
It was nice to see, at least in with a lot of memory that he'd lost, he still remembered Ferryboat Fred, and he smiled when
Oh,
they introduced me as the biggest fan of Ferryboat Fred. So that was nice.
that's so sweet. That's so lovely. And
Mm.
also, you get that sense of a blessing as well.
Oh, it really was. It was a magical moment. It was very emotional, but it was a magic sort of moment.
Wow, that's incredible, man.
Yeah, yeah,
So you're doing it in honor of him, obviously, and
yeah.
it's going to be the highest quality as well, because I think it'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, we went back to
Uh,
the original masters, which was it was edited on 1 inch videotape. They did shoot it on 16 millimeter film, but I don't think they ever kept that film. What I did use was the ABC original edited copies on 1 inch, but they came out fine. I've also got the
yeah.
telecine rushes, which was the what they shot, but transferred from film to videotape, and that's what they used to edit. So there'll be a couple of extra things like deleted scenes and maybe more music videos with some of the deleted stuff of the album. That's what they did with Thomas back in the day. They'd take all the B-roll and deleted scenes and cut the music videos for the Thomas tapes. So I'm kind of thinking about doing the same thing for Fred.
That's crazy, man. But you getting these like that's the thing. What's the process of getting them? And you don't have to be too specific if there's people we can't know.
Oh, look, it's everything's ever one thing I'll learn. One thing you'll learn is that everything is different. Every show is different. Sometimes people are really hard to work with. Sometimes they're not. It's fortunate with Ferryboat Fred that it was a family owned show, so they were lovely people to work with and they were invested in it, so they actually cared about it. Um, some of the other stuff, like the bigger companies and bigger brands, sometimes that can be well, that can take years. Like there's stuff that I can't say that I'm working on at the moment and have been working on for years that behind the scenes that it's still slowly unfolding, but we'll get there. One thing I cannot stress enough is that as cool as it is to see all the finished product and all the work that I've done, the amount of like, and when you see it all together, it's like, geez, how's this guy doing this? And the only way I can answer it is a lot of persistence. Some of it, it's like there'll be moments where I'm like, is this even worth it? But then you keep pushing, and you get to the end, and you're like, shit, well there it is. Sometimes it's as
Yes.
simple as contacting the companies, but when I do it, I like to have contact with the creatives as well, because for me, that's the more interesting part. The people that actually made it, the people that own it. If it's a company, sometimes I only talk to them because it's a necessity. Oftentimes they don't care about it, but sometimes they do. Like I said, every situation is different. So in the case of stuff like that, sometimes it's just talking to people, letting that go on for a while. And as you can imagine, some of these deals are quite expensive too. So it all comes out of my own pocket. So it
That
requires
is
a lot.
commitment, man.
It requires a
Commitment
lot
to
of
like that
commitment,
is major commitment.
and dedication. That's the other thing. Yeah.
Mm.
So,
That's interesting. And you've met all these great people, composers, lyricists who've worked on these shows, creators as well. Is there anyone who you haven't met yet who you would be dreaming to meet and hopefully to gain some trust to earn music rights for their shows or whatever?
there've been a lot, but most of the people I want to speak to but haven't, I can't because they've passed away. That's the problem. There's
Yeah.
so many that have passed on, that I won't have the opportunity to. A lot of the ones that I'd like to, well, I think about it. There are a few, but I've spoken to most of the big ones. So there's a couple here and there that I should probably reach out to. But like I said, the majority of the real big, like I'd love to meet that person. They're all dead. So it's a kind of
Mm,
sad reality that we're getting older and these shows are getting older.
yeah, man. And what makes it even sadder is that, one day, if like no one's still talking about it, they'll just be long forgotten. There's definitely shows that are out there that aren't in any database
Mm.
because they've been forgotten, which is really, really sad. And I
And that's
think what
what
you're
that's what
doing,
my work tries to stop.
mm,
I'm trying to do the opposite to make sure people are still talking about these in 100 years.
yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's like it's keeping it alive so that like even in 50 years' time, when people want to have a look back on what stories that were being aired on TV for children back then, or anyone, they're going to have a time capsule to for them to see. And I think that that's what I really love about your work in particular is that you not only get these shows, but you're also getting the master tapes, like the ones that they use for distribution and making sure they're in their highest quality as well. Like they're really high quality.
I appreciate you saying that. A lot of work goes into it. Some of the stuff I put up on Johnson and Noddy, some of it varies from master quality or DVD quality or something.
Or
Sometimes
VH.
yes, VHS, yeah, high quality VHS. Sometimes though I have to pull it from some old TV recording because the programs are just that rare. But I always do my best to make sure it looks presentable and sounds presentable, and you can put it on YouTube on a big TV, and it'll play fine. Um, that's the goal, to make it sort of future proof.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other things too that you've been doing more recently, on top of the other stuff that we will go into later, but one of the projects that you happen to be taking part in with not with yourself and a couple of other people who've helped record the shows back then and upload to YouTube is that you are doing, how should I say, an Aussie God's work by uploading old episodes of Play School, which is
Yeah,
just so
yeah,
incredible, man. Not just old episodes, but the entire week from Monday to Friday of each series.
yeah. I've been lucky to come across so many play schools, from friends' collections that I've digitized. That's the other thing people should know about me. I love people's old TV recordings of ABC and sometimes New Zealand TV and other stuff if we're lucky. I always joke that people's recordings are like crack cocaine because I get them and it sets off all the endorphins in the brain. For me, it's like it's the same release that a drug addict would get. The only difference is it only comes with positive things. It doesn't do anything bad to me. It just
The
makes
25-year-old autistic adult would be having
yeah.
an overdose from looking at that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the I always joke. It's the autism, that it just it doesn't matter if it's the same Thomas episode I've seen 50 times. It's a recording from 1996. We didn't have that broadcast before. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So over the years, I've collected my own. I've borrowed friends. I've digitized hundreds upon hundreds, and I dig through them and find stuff that I can put up on Johnson and Noddy. And as I was doing that, I had a thought. I went, geez, there's so many bloody play schools here. Why don't we just put them up? And maybe it'll encourage the ABC to do something. And so that's what happened. And a friend of mine's, I've got to be honest, there's a couple of people that do it because I can't do it by myself. I don't know the intricacies of every week, but I've got friends that do. So they help me with that, and then I render them and do all that. And we work as a team. And I took a break because of that movie there in the background that we'll talk about more soon. But also because, I'm sure you imagine, people have been really, really naggy and saying, "Do you have this week? Do you have this one?" I'm just like, well,
I know, dude, and unfortunately, this is the thing about social media. The people like that are always going to exist no matter what, and it can be really frustrating. You just kind of like the thing you got to do is ignore it, but also if someone's saying something really specific, yeah, like something really creepy, like because you mentioned there was some really creepy requests, yeah, absolutely call that out, like because
yeah,
that
there's
is
been
really concerning behavior if someone's being like really specific.
yeah, well, they were always asking for feet week, and I'm like, yeah, okay, bud, we know what you're looking at, we know what you
We
want.
know what you're looking for, yeah. We stay in your stenched room.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and then there's the ones that are demanding about it, and they're saying this episode. I'm like, well, I don't have that episode. You'll have to wait. And then
Yeah.
occasionally I
And
do
also
have it, but I like to mess with them. I just won't tell them, and then randomly it'll come up weeks later. I'm like, there it is.
and there's such tone deaf so-called fans. They're just so tone deaf. Like it's like you pretty much explain in a calming way. Like they're like, "Where is this episode? Can you upload it, please?" And it's like, "I don't have it at the moment. It'll
Yeah,
be coming up. We're still looking through, so don't worry about it and enjoy
yeah,
all the other stuff that we've got. Can you
yeah,
upload it now, please?" It's like, did you not hear what I just said?
yeah.
People just don't
It's like
listen. It's so hilarious.
I can't magic it into existence. A lot of this, especially for play school, is getting old recordings, and then my friend looks at it. Or sometimes I'll be like, "Oh yeah, we've seen this one before," or "We've not seen this one," and it's like, well, um, I'm. It just depends on. It's the luck of the draw. You never know. We've been lucky to find sometimes full 6 to 8 hour tapes of nothing but play school, and a lot of those have been put up. And there's still more to come. Like I'm not going to lie to you. There's hundreds more, hundreds. But
So
I've got annoyed.
you've got more that we obviously because you've been busy, you haven't uploaded them. That's
Yeah, there's more
crazy,
coming.
man.
I'm not going to. It doesn't matter how many people piss me off. I'm not going to turn around and be like, right, that's it.
Yeah,
Christmas over. No more play school. What I did was stepped away and I worked on Magic Railroad in the background there,
yeah.
and
And also fair enough. Like that's a lot of work to be doing all of that. And it's like
oh
people just don't appreciate it. It's like, oh my god, it's frustrating. I get it. I know what it feels like.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I've
but
done the same thing where I make a fan dub and I've worked months and months of re-editing all the audios and stuff, and then people are like, "Oh, can you do this instead?" And it's like, wow, okay, so all of that time and effort that we put into our videos it means nothing to you after like 10 seconds or something.
yeah, it's a bit disheartening. But
Not saying people have to watch it, but it's like when you get response when they immediately be like, "Oh, it sucks," or "We don't
yeah,
want to watch it."
you get some pretty nasty people on the internet, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, not much we can do about it.
Well, it's like you said, just got to maintain positivity. And the thing is, like, all these people could come in and just keep doing it, but I'm not going to stop doing it because it means something to me that this stuff can be accessible to the next generation of kids, or even the like people like us that are nostalgic for it. And it's the other thing
It
with
reminds
the
it
people.
reminds of us because I think what's special about it is that it reminds us of a simpler time in our life when we were young.
Yeah,
So you get that sense of nostalgia and that sense of safety and that sense of comfort as well, because it's something that you grew up with.
for
And it
sure.
also makes you feel, God, it makes you feel old. It makes you
Yeah.
feel like, oh my God, we're really getting old now. Like we're actually becoming that generation where we disapprove what's on TV now.
Well, like I said,
Except Bluey.
yeah. Well, Bluey's doing good. I'm pretty impressed with what they're doing with it. Um, but yeah, no, like I said, I'm getting old. We're all getting old, and you might not be able to see it, but there's several grey hairs up here. So I always joke that it's Magic Railroad causing the grey hairs, but to be honest, we're also just getting old.
Oh man. Speaking of Magic Railroad, now we've
Yeah,
come to the biggest part of the show.
yeah,
You have been like we said, you haven't been focused and busy with the Play School project because you've had another big project. In fact, one of the biggest ones that I would say that you've done ever. In
yeah,
fact, this is the most talked about film in terms of children's media because of how controversial it was in a way, because it has a bit of a mixed reputation. There's people who loved it, but obviously if you're a little kid you're going to like it, but then there's die-hard Thomas fans who grew up with the show who are like felt a sense of betrayal because it was like, why did they make this is so weird and crazy. I mean, firstly, I'm going to give my honest thought on the film. I've only seen it a couple of times. I was like, I never watched the film that much as a kid. And to be honest, I didn't really think much of it. It was just a Thomas the Tank Engine film because I mean, I watched the show, wasn't a diehard fan. I was really more of a Bob the Builder guy. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I've watched a bit of everything. Everyone had their own mix and tastes and favorites and stuff, and
Of
etc.
course.
But for you personally, I mean, sorry, you don't have to give what made you inspired to work on this project? Was it because you knew that there were so many cuts from the original version that you wanted to honor the late Brit Allcroft's legacy by having the film in its original cut so that people can understand that it wasn't 100% fault?
Yeah. Look, there's a number of reasons. As a child, I loved this movie. I loved all things Thomas. Um, when the movie came out in December 2000 in Australia, my mum took my brother and I to see it. My brother wasn't even a year old, and I was 2 years old. And apparently, I just sat there completely quiet. I don't know any 2 year olds who go to a movie cinema and just sit there quiet, transfixed. I think that says a lot about the film and Thomas in general. That it just,
Yeah, I was going to say you're either quiet and intrigued or you're quiet and shocked.
yeah. Well, a little
Like,
2 year old's
what
going to be
is
running around and being loud, but or being upset by how loud the movie is. But I'm sitting there just, according to my mother, I'm just sitting there staring at it like it's the second coming of Christ or something. And I love telling people that story because it sort of proves the impact this movie and Thomas as a whole had on me. Um,
Mm.
so what actually happened was, like I said, long history with the movie. Thomas, know a lot about Thomas. I probably know more than I should about Thomas. But um, what happened was a friend of mine in the film industry in the US uh, alerted me to a big company that I won't name in Canada was going bankrupt, and they had contacted him. The insolvency firm had contacted him um, because they'd seen stuff with his name on it, which was to do with Noddy. So because uh, he knew me and he knew I was real big into Noddy, and I've got a lot of the Noddy music rights. What he's done is he's gone and this is the US Noddy, the Noddy shop, by the way. which yeah,
Which also included the British television version from the 90s too.
yeah, yeah,
Also iconic.
yeah, of
Loved it.
course, very iconic. And yeah, so he sent me this thing and said you should contact these people. Do you reckon we should save this stuff? And I'm like, oh, of course, I don't want it to get thrown out. So I go through this list that this company has of assets that are being chucked, and so all of a sudden I'm scrolling down the list and I see all this Thomas stuff. I'm like, what the bloody hell is this? And I realized very quickly this is all the audio assets and voice recordings and data, stuff like that of the Magic Railroad. But then I start realizing by reading the titles that some of these are early versions, because you've got stuff like P.T. Boomer, who, of course, was a character that was going to be in the film that they completely cut. Once I noticed that, I was like, oh my God, we've got to do something about this. So I spoke to my friend Carty, who's a very prominent member of the Thomas the Tank Engine community and a friend of mine for going on 13 years at this point. Again, a lot of stuff happened in 2013, you can imagine. My dog was born in 2013. I met Chris Neal in 2013. I met a lot of these Thomas people in 2013. Yeah, it was a crazy year. But anyway, yeah, so I spoke to Carty, and the next, for him, it took him a day, and for me too. It took us both a day to realize exactly what we were looking at. And he went, fucking hell, you've just found the director's cut. And I've gone, oh shit, so what are we going to do about this? So anyway, we were sort of just, and it was 7 days. The stuff was about to get thrown out in 7 days.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, so you guys got it just in time. So we could have never seen it in the light of day if you'd waited a week later. Oh my God.
If we'd even waited a day, for all we know, we could have been too late. I don't know what their policies were. All I know was as soon as I knew about it, I wrote up the email to the insolvency people. I explained it. I also, I also had a long think about it and said, do I bother with this? And then I said, yes, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to live with myself, knowing that stuff got thrown out, because I was like, nah, it's not worth it. So ultimately we got it. It was just a box full of CDRs with old Pro Tools file formats from the 90s, and a lot of that stuff didn't work. So I spent hours getting the computer to read these ancient files, but it worked. Then there was DAT tapes and DA88 audio tapes for the ADR and voice recording sessions. And we spent a considerable amount of money getting those transferred as a team. And ultimately, at the end of it, what came out was we had every version, every voice recording, so we could make all these different versions, which, of course, we didn't know there were that many of them. We thought there was always this old cast and the new one. No, there were 4 different casts. There was 2 extra ones in the middle. And through this, we realized, shit, we're sitting on something big. So then Cardi and I just went from it being a fun sort of side project to taking it really seriously. So that sort of takes us up to, I guess that's how we decided to do it. Of course, Cardi knew Brit very well. I knew Brit not as well, but I did know her. And, to somebody who was so influential in creating a part of my childhood, I was like, no, we've got to do this. So I hope that answers your question. It's a long-winded story, but...
I mean, I do feel bad. I mean, I can't even imagine how bad I would have felt for Brit during that time as well, because it was like the film bombed so bad at the box office that it led to her quitting her own company. Like, I couldn't even imagine what decisions were leading up to that. I mean, from what I heard, there were too many cuts in the film as well. And there was also controversies around the casting, like they felt that Peter Fonda's performance was too depressing. I don't even know if that... I mean, I don't even know what the original cut's going to do for that.
That's the thing. And, that's the thing. The big problem with it was that the distributor, Destination Films, cut the film against Brit's will, because, of course, an executive producer on a movie can do that. And they wrecked it. They cut out all these integral parts. Suddenly you've got this really disjointed story. Like, I still loved the film as a kid, but it's a really disjointed story about this old guy that's sad about this train that doesn't work, but all of his motivations and his reasoning and the reason why he stopped believing in magic, all that's gone. But in Britt Allcroft's version, that was all there and it was explained, and you suddenly actually give a crap about what these characters' intentions and their motivations were. And the fact that Britt was forced to, was forced into a position where she had to be resigned and was blacklisted from making films in that Hollywood, that's disgusting because that wasn't even her fault. The other thing about it bombing at the box office, regardless of how good or bad it was, I think a lot of it was actually down to the fact that a lot of the audience were little kids. So some movie cinemas would have had them get in for free. So, which is good, but kind of sucks.
Yeah, actually, you know what? You know what? That's a really good point because I know the Wiggles movie had the same
That's
issue
right.
as well. Because their audiences like they would have had the same thing. Kids under 3 get in for free. And then obviously
Like I
because the
told you,
film
I was 2 when I saw
yeah,
this film in cinemas.
yes, it'd have been very easy to get
Yeah,
into the cinema. I mean people I guess that's why obviously it wasn't aimed at all ages, so it was very clear of who its target audience was, which can be a problem. And it was the same with the Wiggles movie. I mean, it did do well on VHS, actually, because that way you can buy as many copies as you can. And probably would have been the same for Thomas and the Magic Railroad. But I think,
absolutely. Yeah,
but because,
big seller.
it's pretty much the same as the Wiggles movie. Like, because the audience were under the age of 3, majority of them, it would have been very hard to distribute how many. Like it could have made more, but because the
Absolutely.
audience were underage, like really little kids,
Mm.
obviously the film wouldn't have made the revenue that it would have.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that our
And its
director's
budget
cut.
was what was the film's budget again?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head.
So I'll try and have a look, but like I think it
Personally,
might have
I
been
think the
around a
reported.
million.
Yeah, personally, I think the reported budget isn't accurate because the more that we discover, like shit, Brit must have been putting money out of her own pocket into this, and the more we discover about it, the sadder the story is because she put her whole heart and soul into this and lost everything.
It says 19 million according to
Yeah,
Wikipedia. And
sounds about right.
the film made $19.7 million, and that's like think about how much it could have made if they charged kids under 3.
Mm.
You
Well,
know,
would have at least doubled the money, tripled
at
maybe.
least doubled the money, or at
Yeah,
least made it over 100 million,
yeah. No,
which is impressive on a 19 million budget.
yeah, I think it's quite unfair that people say that, um, it was it bombed because I think it wouldn't have mattered how good or bad it was. Anybody who liked Thomas would have gone to see it, and a lot of those at that time period, a lot of those kids would have been like 2 or 3 or even 1. Or in the case of my brother who went with us, he wasn't even a year old. So like you can imagine that there would have been a whole shitload of kids like that. It's kind of they were rigged from the start, unfortunately.
Yeah, and look, the truth of the matter is, like, I'm excited for the restoration. I'm wondering if the restoration will include this because I think this is just one. If I have any criticisms for a Thomas the Tank Engine film, it would be this: move your damn mouth. You've got not $20 million. Move your fucking mouth.
Well,
Like,
I,
it's a lot of money for a Thomas the Tank Engine film. That the very least they could have done was have their mouths move. I think
well,
that's an understandable criticism.
yeah, I mean, I get both sides of the coin. From a general audience standpoint, I can understand why they were bothered by it, but as somebody who inherently understands the reasoning of what made Thomas what it was, I know why they didn't, and it's because the programs were known for that was a whole charm of the programs. The mouths didn't move. It was filmed the exact same way they shot the television episodes, and that's the way that's the way I see it. I know for a fact as well they
It was a
were.
television show too. It was a television show, so they wouldn't have had the budget like they would for the film. So I guess that's where the controversy is. In that way, in
But
that
that
matter.
being said, I don't think that was why they did it for budget reasons. I think it was an aesthetic. I'm pretty sure it was an aesthetic
So
reason.
more of a nostalgic reason, yeah.
Yeah, it was an aesthetic in the TV show. They wanted them to look like that and be very exaggerated. I mean, it was like Brit's whole thing with Thomas was it was supposed to look like storybook TV, like you're reading, like listening to the guy narrating it, and it makes sense. Like in the pictures of the Railway series books by the Reverend Audrey, the faces were still, and I think that's what they were going for. And I guess it makes sense to replicate that in the film. It would have been a little bit jarring had they. I personally think it would have been a bit jarring had they done that. I know there were talks of it happening early on in the production, and they did shoot with the intent at first to do that, but they stopped very quickly because they realized it wouldn't work and it would be a bit. I think they realized it was a bit pointless. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
Mm. That I think that's a great analysis that you've brought there, and obviously, for very good reasons, and that's why I guess you're inspired to bring this original cut back. How do we have an estimate of the original cut? Because the film version went for about, I think, about 80 minutes.
Well, I can tell you our current work in progress is 1 hour and 41 minutes. So that's
Holy, that's a lot.
yeah. So 80
two and a half hours.
Well, no, an hour and 40. That's not 2.5 hours. That's not even 2 hours.
104. Wait.
No, 1 hour, 40 minutes.
Oh, okay, 100 minutes. I was like, I thought you meant 140 minutes. I was like, a 2.5 hour film, really?
Yeah, no, nah. That's about what they shot, but that's not. That'll be as long as the assembly cut version we're making will probably be about 2 hours 30, but
Yeah.
not the director's cut. That'll be let me just an hour 40 minutes. That is exactly 100. You're right. So it's about 101 minutes. It's not too long. It's in that sort of sweet spot for a children's
For an
family
average
film.
children's film, yeah.
Yeah. So that, as you can understand, that assembly version we want to make, which at some point we'll put it up. I've sent you a clip that you can play. That's
we're nearly at the I was going to say we're nearly at the end of the episode, so I'd love for us to have this as an exclusive sneak peek. Could you tell us what the clip is?
Yeah, so this is a little sneak peek from the assembly cut version of the film, which is 1999. It has the original cast, including Keith Scott, Patrick Breen, Michael Angelis, John Bellis, and it's just sort of a reconstruction. Now, this isn't the director's cut. This is the assembly cut, which is more of a side project. It would be the longest version of the film, and the whole reason we're making that is for the diehard fans, because there are people that would sit down and watch a 2 hour and 30-minute Thomas the Tank Engine movie, believe it or not. So that's a little of what we'll show now.
So, what are we going to do now, little Thomas? Mr. Conductor's fallen off the wagon, and it's all your fault.
We need help. Who's going to give it to us?
I can't at the moment. I think I'm getting a cold. We'll help each other. That's what Sir Topham Hatt would expect.
Pity he went away in the first place.
Oh no, now Thomas is getting ill too. Oh,
no, he's not.
No,
Don't have a caboose, James.
I've got a dusty funnel, that's all. Now, I'm going to look for Mr. Conductor.
Hey, Tommy, baby, how about a race?
Sorry, Bertie. I can't have a race with you today. I have to be a really useful engine for Mr. Conductor.
I'm sorry I'm late, Thomas, but there was something wrong with the track switches, and I went the long way around.
Never mind, Percy. Mr. Conductor would still be proud of us.
He talked about buffers in his sleep last night. Buffers are at the end of a railway. I think that's how he travels to this island.
I don't think we should say any more. My wheel suddenly feels a little wobbly. I think Diesel's around here somewhere.
I'm sorry, you two. Diesel heard every word you said. I'm going after him to see what he does next. You'd better carry on and get the mail delivered.
Oh, you're very brave, Toby.
Oh, Diesel won't bother with an old engine like me. He thinks I'm scrap already.
Come in and join the party, Splodge.
Hooray, hooray, we're going to have a party, we're going to have a party. Who's got the balloons? Who's got the balloons?
Correction! Join the party that's over. Just like Twinkletoes' magic railway's going to be over. Gone! Like the buffers that lead to that railway. And like those steam engines, too. Destroy, Splodge! Destroy!
But we might hurt somebody or something.
So? We don't know where the entrance to his railway is, so we don't know which are the right buffers. Therefore, you've got to destroy all of them.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
It's time to finally put Twinkletoes' lights out. This is a job for the boss.
I've got to delay him. I've got to distract him.
It's the old teapot! Smash him!
Boss, did you mean to do that?
I always mean what I do.
Wow. That is so extraordinary. And may I just say, Joseph, Keith Scott feels very. I mean, that's the other thing. We had him on the show, and he was replaced as the original voice of Diesel because he said the test audiences thought that his version was too scary.
Yeah.
But then you
well,
listen to it, and it's like, that is kind of what I would picture Diesel to actually sound like for some reason.
Yeah, he was Gordon as well in this version.
Yeah, Gordon. I didn't know he was Gordon. I don't think he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, very briefly you can hear Gordon, and he's got an Aussie accent. Yeah, that's Keith as well. So, yeah, I look, I think the story he tells is that that's what the distributors told him, and he doesn't really buy the story. And to be honest, I think he's right, because I can tell you the people at Destination Films, they certainly didn't know what they were doing. They cut this film 12 times. There are 12 cuts of this goddamn movie. That gives you an idea of how much they butchered it.
Man, I tell you what. I mean, I feel like this is a great way to like finish the app, because it's like, it's so important for audiences to know this film and its original cut, just because of the controversy that arose from it. But I think we also, I think from what it sounds like, the whole goal of making this is to bring justice to Britt Allcroft and her legacy. And, and unfortunately, she's now no longer here to see the original version. And it's, and we hope, and I hope too, that it's going to explain a lot. And I think it'll help. I mean, I don't know how much it will help, but it might even expose the decision-making abilities of the studios back then, so that future studios understand to maybe trust the
Trust the creatives.
Trust the creators and don't just keep relying on focus groups who don't represent the majority to tell you.
Well, the problem with the test audience is they tested it in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is factually, like in America, the place where the least amount of people knew what Thomas was. What they should have done was tested it in New York or Pennsylvania or somewhere in the US or even Toronto, where they made most of the movie, in Canada. Places where Thomas was massive. But LA, it never really had that reach, and that was a big problem.
Yeah.
I could go on for hours and hours, but of course we don't have the time for that. But
Right. When it gets closer to the release, when's the expected release date for the restoration cut?
Well,
or the director's cut, whatever it's called.
Yeah, the director's cut. Well, we originally wanted to do it November this year, but because of circumstances beyond our control and involving looking for more materials, we'll probably have to push it back till 2027 or something. But we'll keep updating, and there'll be all kinds of stuff. But also, like you said, I don't know if it'll change people's minds. I mean, that's not really the goal. The goal here is to preserve what Brit wanted, and these other versions sort of in between, because all the fans would love that, regardless of whether they like the movie. But it's also like, we would hope. I personally think it will change people's minds. There's some scenes that we're putting back in that are really heartwarming or funny or meaningful to the story in some way. They make the emotions they evoke are quite strong, whether they're humorous or really sad or really funny, or even a little bit of scary stuff, but nothing too scary because it's a kids' movie.
Yeah, of course.
All the stuff we're putting back in, I think it will change people's minds. Not everybody. I personally think they could have released this in Brit's ideal version, and the critics still would have hated it. Their job is to hate movies.
You'll get people who just don't like comics in general, which I don't blame.
Yeah, of course, everybody's tastes are different, but I do think that a lot of people that this will change a lot of people's views on the movie.
I think it'll change a lot of opinions on Brit. I feel bad for Brit. Like that it's so bad to have the film bomb that bad that you end up quitting your own company. That's just, I hope it really shines a light onto that.
Yeah, well,
and brings her justice.
Absolutely. She's got a pretty bad rap, and it's by no fault of her own. She was always a very headstrong and stubborn lady, but she was a brilliant businesswoman, and she loved Thomas. She loved Thomas and Mumphy, the other show that she did. She loved those things with her heart. I've never seen somebody so passionate about something they've created. And I think that's what shines through. That's what should shine through. And like you said, the movie should sort of do her a bit of justice, because as difficult as Brit could be to work with at times, she was such an integral part of people's childhoods. And without Brit, I know I certainly probably wouldn't be in the spot I am now. Without Thomas, it did a lot for me as a kid. It does a lot for me as an adult.
It's incredible, man. I mean, and your journey too has been incredible, and the fact that you're at this point restoring the film, I mean, that's all the inspiration I think anyone would need to, want to, try their hardest to, not pester people to release rare material, but to, look at what you're doing and be like, that's incredible. That's inspiring. Because it's like, and I say inspiring as in not inspiring in the way of like it's changing people's lives, but it's inspiring to be reminded of a simpler time in our lives when we were.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but also I'd like to give a shout out to Carty, who's my partner on this project, and he's doing all the visual editing, sound mixing. I've mixed all the songs because we went back to the songs and stuff, but I think he deserves some credit as well. It's very nice of you to say that, but I think it's sort of a team effort. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Cardi as well. Yeah, you two are doing a great job with this project so far, and I was really intrigued from it. So yeah,
Thanks, man.
definitely a Joey Wiggle experience
Yeah,
exclusive.
yeah,
And
yeah. Well, we wanted,
we can't wait to next year, man.
yeah, no, neither can I. And we wanted to to show you something, especially after you interviewed Keith Scott. And then I saw that interview, and then that was you'd emailed me a week before, but as you know, busy, it takes time to things. And then once I saw the Keith interview, I went back and went, yeah, I'm gonna do this interview. I think it'll be worthwhile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because I knew you were working on this project in particular as well. I mean, you're quite an inspirational person to, for a lot of us to look up to at the moment. I mean, the fact that you're doing all this great, wonderful stuff, like whether it's uploading old Play School episodes, getting the TV or music rights to many of the shows that we've forgotten about over the years, and now working on the original cut of the Thomas and the Magic Railroad film. Like, what more could be done? Like, that's just incredible, man. You're an inspiration.
Thanks, dude. It means so much to hear that from a fellow fan and collector of all these old shows. It means a lot because it's one thing just to hear it, but to take it in and go, whoa, people really view me as that. And I'm sitting here like I'm just a funny guy with autism that really likes ABC Kids. But it's really heartwarming.
That's totally different. Old ABC Kids. And
Yes.
I'm totally the same. I'm stuck in my nostalgic mind.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to be 80 and I'm still going to like this stuff. I'm not going to. It's
Yeah,
my
bro, I'm
life.
going to be 80 and I'm going to be talking about how nostalgic Bob the Builder will be.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Bob the Builder's a great, great series, man. I see why you love it so much. And the Wiggles.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just because it was the most popular thing at the time. It was basically Paw Patrol of the 2000s,
Yeah,
created by the same dude.
Yeah, although this one was actually good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I guess Johnson and Friends would have been the Bob the Builder of the 90s.
Well, in Australia, yes, and some
Yeah.
other weird countries that really liked it, like Japan and Brazil for some reason. So
Yep.
yeah, Brazil had Johnson on 3 times a day in the 90s. So
Well, okay, then it would have, just you could have continued making the show on Brazil.
exactly. It's one of those things. Why I couldn't tell you. They just really loved it.
That's incredible, man. But anyways, yes, that is all the time we have. That's a lot of great information to take in for today, and I'm so excited to see the final cut of the Thomas the Tank Engine's director's cut. And we will definitely have you back on when the release date is closer, so we can talk more about it. Because obviously, there's a lot to talk about. But
Yeah, I'd be honored, man.
me and my co-host,
really well.
we got other stuff going on at the moment, so we're gonna have to wrap things up. But anyway, thank you so much, Joseph. From one Joseph, one Joey to another Joey. Thank you so much, man, for taking the time to discuss what you've been doing and what's coming up next. And it's just so inspiring. It's so wonderful, and it's great to hear you talk about it, man. Thank you so much.
It's an honor, and I'm happy to do this again further down the track. This was lovely. Had a good time.
Yeah, you too. And thank you to everyone for listening and watching to today's special episode. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, etc., etc. And before we wrap up, Joseph, would you like to do the honors and signing off our show?
Yeah, it was lovely to talk, and I hope that everyone enjoyed what I had to say, and see you guys next time.
See you next time, Joseph. Woohoo!